She always said love was supposed to be simple, but nothing about our story felt simple anymore. That night, under the glow of warm lights and the quiet hum of a room filled with laughter, I realized something had shifted between us forever. It wasn't in the words she said, but in the silence that followed them, the kind of silence that speaks louder than promises. She had chosen him, not with an announcement, not even with an argument, but with a glance, a touch, a quiet betrayal that only I seemed to notice. And in that moment, when the world wanted me to fight, I made a different choice. I chose peace over pain. This story isn't about heartbreak alone, it's about the journey of two people who once believed in forever but found themselves standing on opposite sides of love. She was an American woman, strong-willed and vibrant, the kind who could light up a room with her laughter. I was her husband, the man who thought I knew every corner of her heart. But when trust is shaken, when romance turns into routine, and when someone else quietly steps into the picture, the foundation of even the strongest marriage begins to tremble. You might wonder, how does a husband handle the realization that the woman he built his dreams with is slowly building new ones without him? Do you fight for the love you once had, or do you step away before the pain consumes you? These are the questions that haunted me as I stood watching her laugh with him, her eyes sparkling in a way I hadn't seen in months. Was I losing her, or had I already lost her long before this moment? What makes this story powerful isn't just the betrayal but the choices that followed. Love is never just about passion, it's about sacrifice, commitment, and sometimes letting go for the sake of your own soul. In this story, romance is tangled with conflict, and relationships are tested in ways no one prepares you for. It's not just about her decision, but mine, about choosing a path that didn't lead to revenge or bitterness, but to freedom and self-respect. As you listen, I want you to imagine yourself in my place. If the person you loved most revealed their heart was drifting, would you fight harder or walk away stronger? Would you believe in second chances, or would you let silence answer for you? Comment below as you think about it, because everyone has a different way of defining love and loyalty. This is just the beginning, and the choices we make now will shape everything that comes next. Stay tuned, because what happens after this moment will surprise you, and the question of whether peace is worth more than passion will linger until the very end. When I look back, I often wonder if the signs were always there and I just chose not to see them. In the beginning, our love felt effortless, the kind that made ordinary days feel extraordinary. She had this way of making me believe that we were building something unshakable, a life rooted in trust, laughter, and shared dreams. We decorated our first apartment together, planned weekend trips just to escape the routine, and promised each other that no matter what life threw at us, we would stay side by side. For a long time, I believed in that promise with every part of me. But as the years passed, the spark started to fade in small, almost invisible ways. The late-night talks became shorter. The dinners that once stretched into hours of laughter turned into silent meals filled with scrolling on phones. She was still there, physically close, but emotionally, it felt like she was slipping further away each day. I told myself it was just stress, or the natural rhythm of marriage, but in my heart, I sensed something heavier lingering between us. The man she chose to spend more of her time with was someone I had never thought of as a threat. He was a friend of her circle, someone who showed up often at gatherings, always with easy jokes and charming stories. At first, I brushed off their closeness as harmless, telling myself she deserved friends, that I had no reason to be jealous. But slowly, the way her face lit up when she spoke to him, the way her laugh carried a softness I hadn't heard in years, it pierced me in ways I couldn't ignore. I wanted to believe she still loved me, that her heart still belonged to the man she had once promised her forever to, but every glance they shared planted more doubt. The conflict wasn't only about her actions, it was about my own choices too. Should I confront her, demand the truth, and risk breaking us completely? Or should I wait, watch, and hope she'd find her way back to me without me saying a word? That was the tension I lived with daily, a quiet storm building inside me. And while she laughed, while he stood beside her as though he belonged, I felt myself standing at a crossroads I never wanted to face. If you were in my place, what would you do? Hold on tighter to someone slipping away, or let go before the pain consumes everything? Share your thoughts in the comments, because this is the question that will decide how the rest of this story unfolds. Every day felt like walking on a thin line between hope and heartbreak. I would come home from work and find her already dressed up, makeup done, hair perfect, and I knew she wasn't waiting for me. She always said it was just dinner with friends or a casual outing, but deep inside I could sense the shift. The way her eyes no longer searched for mine when she entered a room, the way her laughter sounded softer, warmer when she was on the phone with him, it tore me apart quietly, piece by piece. The conflict inside me grew louder than the silence in our home. Part of me wanted to shout, to ask her straight out, is he the one who makes you happy now? But another part of me was terrified of her answer. What if she said yes? What if all those years we built together were nothing more than a fading memory to her? The fear of losing her clashed with the fear of holding on to someone already gone. To make things even more complicated, her best friend, someone who had always been kind to me, someone who noticed my pain even when I tried to hide it, started showing me a different kind of care. She asked questions no one else dared to ask. She told me I deserved to be loved fully, not halfway. Her words lingered in my mind like a secret I wasn't supposed to carry, and yet, they gave me strength in moments when I felt invisible in my own marriage. Was it possible that love could be waiting for me in a place I never expected? Or was I just searching for comfort in the wrong direction? The weight of choice pressed on me every day. Should I fight for the woman who once promised to love me forever, even as she slowly gave her heart to another? Or should I choose peace over pain and walk toward a future I couldn't yet see? The suspense of not knowing what would happen next consumed me more than the betrayal itself. If you were standing in my shoes, would you confront her and demand the truth, or quietly walk away and let fate decide? Comment below. Your thoughts might be the very answer to the question that keeps me awake at night. Nights became the hardest part. The silence in our house felt heavier than any words could. I would lie awake, staring at the ceiling, wondering if she was with him, laughing at the things that used to be ours. Every small sign became a clue, her late-night texts, her sudden change of clothes before going out, the way she brushed off my questions with a smile that didn't quite reach her eyes. The distance between us wasn't measured in miles but in moments, in memories slipping away. Then there was her best friend. She had this way of looking at me, not with pity but with understanding. It scared me because it was easier to lean into her comfort than face the storm waiting in my own home. She would tell me, "You deserve someone who chooses you, not someone who looks past you." Those words carved into me like truth, even when I tried to deny them. Was it betrayal to even consider them? Or was it survival, choosing peace over pain before it was too late? One evening, everything started to unravel. I walked into a restaurant unexpectedly, and there she was, sitting across from him, her hand resting casually near his. They looked like two people who belonged together, carefree and alive. For a moment, I couldn't breathe. My chest tightened as if the walls were closing in, but instead of confronting them, I stood there in silence, watching a life I thought was mine slip away in plain sight. When I finally left, her best friend called me, as if she somehow knew I needed someone to hear me. We talked for hours, not about love but about choices, about courage, about what it means to value yourself. She reminded me that sometimes walking away isn't weakness, it's the bravest thing you can do. But was I brave enough to actually take that step? Or was I still holding on to a version of her that no longer existed? The closer I got to the truth, the heavier my heart felt. Each day was leading to something I couldn't avoid anymore. A choice had to be made, and I knew once it happened, nothing would ever be the same. If you were in this position, would you fight for the love you once had, or would you let go and choose peace? Think about it, and share your thoughts in the comments, because the climax of this story is closer than you think. The days after that night at the restaurant felt like walking through fog. I couldn't shake the image of her hand resting so close to his, the way she laughed in a way she hadn't laughed with me in months. But just when I thought I had seen the worst of it, life dealt me another twist that I wasn't ready for. A message popped up on my phone from an unknown number. It was a picture, her, sitting in the same car as him, her head leaned on his shoulder. No caption, no explanation, just an unspoken truth staring me in the face. I felt the ground slip beneath me, but before I could react, another revelation came, and this one shook me even more. Her best friend, the one who had listened, the one who had been my quiet anchor through all this, confessed something I never expected. She admitted she had known about the affair long before I found out. She had tried to warn her, begged her to stop, but my wife didn't listen. She told me she stayed quiet because she didn't want to hurt me, yet now the guilt was too heavy. Hearing her voice crack as she admitted it left me torn between anger and gratitude. Should I feel betrayed that she hid it, or thankful that she had been the one person who truly cared? That night, as I sat in my car outside the house, I caught another glimpse that made everything worse. She wasn't alone. He was inside, and she wasn't even trying to hide it anymore. My hands gripped the steering wheel, my chest burning with rage and sorrow. I had thought I was already standing at the edge, but this was the push that brought me closer to a breaking point. Yet, even in that moment of chaos, her best friend's words kept echoing in my mind, peace over pain. But how do you choose peace when your whole world is built on betrayal? The conflict wasn't just between her and me anymore, it was inside me, tearing me apart. Viewers, if you were in my shoes, would you confront them right there, or would you walk away with dignity and start over? Drop your thoughts in the comments because the next step I take will change everything. I sat in the car for what felt like hours, the glow of the porch light flickering against the windshield. My chest tightened with every second that passed, until I couldn't take it anymore. I stepped out, each foot heavy against the gravel, and walked to the door. My hand trembled as I turned the knob, not knowing if I'd find the strength to face what I already knew. Inside, laughter echoed, hers mixed with his, and it stabbed deeper than any knife could. When I entered, the room froze. She jumped to her feet, shock painted across her face, while he stood still, his smug expression giving me all the answers I needed. For a moment, no one spoke. Then I found my voice, calm but steady, so this is what peace looks like for you. My words cut the silence, and I watched her crumble. She tried to explain, excuses spilling out, but I wasn't there for excuses. I wanted truth, raw and unfiltered. He stepped forward as if to defend her, but before he could speak, her best friend walked in behind me. The sight of her shifted the air. She looked directly at my wife, her voice firm and unwavering. "He deserves better than this. He deserves honesty." My wife's face turned pale, her secrets exposed not just by me, but by the one person she never expected would stand against her. The argument that followed was messy, tears, shouts, and confessions spilling everywhere like broken glass. She admitted to the affair, admitted she had chosen him because she thought he could give her the luxury lifestyle she believed she wanted. But the twist came when the man she betrayed me with, the one she had risked everything for, turned to her and coldly said, "I was never going to stay with you. You were just convenient." The room went silent again, but this time it was her who broke down completely, realizing she had lost both of us in the same moment. I stood there, strangely calm, as if the storm had finally passed. And then I did the only thing that made sense. I turned to her best friend, the one who had been my quiet anchor all along, and reached for her hand. Not as a declaration of love, but as a choice for peace, for something real and steady in a world that had just fallen apart. Viewers, what would you have done in that moment? Would you have walked away alone, or taken the hand that was willing to guide you toward a better tomorrow? The house that once felt like home suddenly seemed too small, filled with echoes of betrayal and regret. She sat on the floor, tears streaming down her face, whispering apologies that felt too late, too shallow. The man she left me for had already walked out, leaving without a backward glance, proving what I had said all along, that loyalty is priceless, and when you trade it for luxury, you often end up with nothing. I stood silently, holding her best friend's hand, not in triumph but in quiet strength. There was no satisfaction in her pain, only a heavy truth. We had both been broken in different ways by the same choices, and yet somehow, standing together, we didn't feel so small anymore. The night didn't end in fireworks or declarations of romance, but in calm honesty. She walked me outside, the cool air carrying a sense of freedom I hadn't felt in years. For the first time, I realized peace wasn't found in revenge or anger, it was found in finally letting go. Days turned into weeks, and life slowly began to rebuild itself. Papers were signed, final conversations were had, and though there were moments of doubt, I knew the path I had chosen was the right one. Her best friend became more than just support, she became a reminder that even in the darkest moments, people can surprise you with kindness, loyalty, and care. She didn't rush me into anything, didn't push me to heal faster than I was ready. Instead, she gave me space, and in that space, something genuine began to grow. As time passed, I found myself reflecting on what had happened not with anger but with clarity. Relationships are not built on grand promises of wealth or appearances of perfection. They are built on small, consistent acts of trust and love. It wasn't about who looked better, who had more money, or who could impress the world, it was about who stayed, even when it was easier to leave. And that's what made the ending so different from the beginning. I wasn't walking away in pain anymore. I was walking toward peace, toward someone who saw my worth even when I doubted it myself. She chose him, and in return, I chose peace over pain. That choice, though difficult, gave me back something I thought I had lost forever, myself. So now I ask you, viewers, what would you have done? Would you have stayed and tried to rebuild something shattered, or would you have walked away like I did, to find something better waiting down the road? Let me know in the comments below if you think this ending was right, and if you'd like to see a sequel where this new chapter of my life unfolds.